Kohalo Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rahak Radash. Double honors to the elder apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who well for teaching this word in truth and sincerity. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad, and peace and salutations to the sincere Akim that's pushing this word in truth and sincerity to USA Shalom. Over 170 countries and territories issue biometric documents, passports, IDs, with dozens, which dozens, including India, Brazil, Kenya, and across the EU, utilizing these for financial authentication. Biometric systems in banking, such as face or fingerprint recognition, are increasingly common for security, KYC compliance, and reducing fraud in digital payments, particularly in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Key examples of implementation: India, the Aadhaar biometric system is used for banking transactions. Nigeria and Kenya use fingerprints for mobile banking and digital identity verification. Brazil and Mexico utilize facial biometrics to secure digital banking and combat fraud. EU countries heavily utilize biometrics to comply with PSD2, that's Payment Systems Directive, requirements for secure authentication. Expansion trends. Biometric ATMs are being adopted in countries such as Pakistan, Argentina, to expand access to banking services. Biometric authentication in financial institutions is widely used in countries like India, China, Brazil, and throughout Europe. So, over 170 countries and territories. That's out of 195. That's about roughly 87% of the world has implemented some sort of biometric feature to their banking institutions. A lot of places like China, they use it for medical. They use it here in the US too, but it's not as widely adopted. But a lot of people do use it. And this is just one facet moving forward into that digital technocracy, that digital age, where at some point they're going to implement an implantable device. Now, these things are not mandated, as far as they're gonna try to force your hand to take it. But it's just the same way these places are now mandating that you get biometrics. It's going to be the same thing. Gradually, they will implement an implantable device, and you will be mandated to take it. Now, do you have to take it? Not necessarily. Not unless you want to, be X'd out. If you want to participate in society, if you want to still have access to your bank accounts, then you'll go ahead and you take that implantable C-hip. But if you decide not to, you will be X'd out of society. You won't have access to your financials. You won't have access to your health records. You won't have access to anything. In recent news,
The Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent confirms executive order requiring citizenship verification for all bank customers. So this is the same thing they did in it was either I think it was in one of those it was in one of those countries down in the Levant, down in the so-called Middle East. It was either Kuwait or Iraq. I can't remember at the time, but it was just a year ago, a year or two ago. They made their citizens, submit to the biometrics in order to get to their financials, and they gave them a couple of months to get it right. If you didn't submit some sort of biometrics into their system, they didn't allow you to access your bank account. So that's coming to Babylon, in a mandated sense. It's already here. You see people use it to access their phones and all sorts of weird shit. But it's starting to be implemented here where they're going to mandate it. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent confirmed this week that a high-stakes executive order requiring banks to verify the citizenship of all customers is officially in process. The move, which shifts the burden of immigration enforcement onto the private financial sector, marks the end of a decade-long standard where identity, not legal status, governed access to the American economy. Bessent's remarks on April 15th moved the proposal from internal rumor to active policy development. While the administration frames the measure as a tool for visibility and control, industry experts warn it functions as a sweeping paperwork test for millions of Americans, unlike existing customer, that's YKC, rules that rely on driver's licenses. The new mandate is expected to explicitly exclude real IDs, which provide lawful presence but not citizenship, requiring instead a U.S. passport, naturalization certificate, or birth certificate. The documentation gap, the logistical hurdle for the American public is staggering, according to 2026 research from the Brennan Center for Justice. Approximately 21.3 million voting age citizens, 9.1% of the population, do not have proof of citizenship readily available. The burden is not distributed equally, revealing significant facial and gender disparity. It's like a gendered disparities. Facial inequality. Nearly 11% of Americans of color lack ready access to these documents, compared to 8% of so-called white citizens. The burden barrier: as many as 69 million women have legal names that do not match their birth certificates due to marriage or divorce. Without a passport, these women may be forced to produce a paper trail of marriage licenses and affidavits simply to keep their bank accounts open. Economic and industrial toll. The American Action Forum estimates the mandate will trigger a bureaucracy avalanche, adding between 31.1 million and 73.3 million hours of paperwork for the banking industry. Compliance costs for a project to reach between 2.6 billion and 5.6 billion. These costs are unlikely to be absorbed by institutions alone. Economists warn that banks will likely pass expense to customers through higher fees or by closing accounts that are higher effort to verify. What's this? Chaz Rewinkle, president of Devon Bank, warned that the policy risks pushing millions into the unbanked population, forcing them to rely on predatory lenders. A financial shift. Currently, U.S. banks take roughly 3 minutes to verify a new account under federal law. Under the proposed order, that process could balloon to over 40 minutes per customer. For the 3.8 million citizens who have lost their documents entirely to theft or disaster, the order could represent a permanent lockout from the U.S. financial system. So this is where Babylon is headed. You know, they following the rest of the world. You know, all this is spearheaded by, your wicked elite bankers that control these central banks. They want absolute and total control over your money. When they want to, they can tax you. When they want to, they can shut your bank account off. When they want to, they can take funds out of it. This is what it's all leading to, man. It's leading to this absolute control that they want to have over the people. To keep you in a perpetual state of bondage. They keep that yoke around your neck. So if you resist, let's say if you lost your documents, now you gotta go through the hurdle of trying to find these trying to retrieve these documents in order to have it digitized. So
Proverbs 12:13. The wicked is snared by the transgression of his lips, but the just shall come out of trouble. And we're headed for those troubling times. Esau Edom is about to implement his biometrics, where it's going to be mandated in order for you to access your banking accounts, your financial accounts. And it's pretty much in the guise of, protecting Babylon from illegal immigrants and things of that nature. But we all know that's a farce. We know that's just a smokescreen because he want to move forward with his digital system. So, it's projected by the end of this year, they're going to start mandating that you get some sort of biometrics in order to access your bank accounts. This is Psalms 73, 7 and 8. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than a heart could wish. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully. And, These rich, wicked elite bankers, you know, all they want to do is enslave the people by, implementing that karakma, making you, take that C-hip. And this is what it all boils down to. And, and it's all because of greed. It's all because of pride. And they pretty much want to enslave the people. They want to have everyone monitored so they'll know your goings and comings. These people are corrupt. They always fund both sides of wars. So there's always a war going on somewhere. And it's always funded by these rich banking families. And this is just another way of waging war on the people. Keeping them in a constant state of oppression. And that's because they're wicked, man. And they are the devil that the Bible speak of. This is Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they have prescribed. So, death and destruction to these people, man. When the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai comes back, man, he's gonna set a blaze to this place because of his wickedness, and he's gonna put those top wicked elites. They're the first ones going into captivity. They think they're gonna be able to hide in their bunkers. They think they're gonna be able to evade the the wrath of the Most High. But it's inevitable. It's written. It's been spoken. So these people are not gonna be able to get away with their nonsense. And they take great pride in oppression. They take great pride in creating laws and policies that keep people off balance, keep them in an uproar. They have unjust laws. They change the laws, manipulate the laws in order to better suit them. So these people are extremely wicked. James 5:1. Go to now, ye rich man, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you, and the way you oppress the people, the misery that you cause will be brought upon you, and it's going to be doubled according to the scripture. So, because of your wicked ways, because of your wicked deeds, and your attempts to constantly oppress the people, this here is just another means of oppression. This biometrics nonsense. So what makes that what makes that more secure, than the system you have in place? What makes C-hipping people much more secure than the system that you have in place? This is why, when you really look at it and when you get to the root cause, man, these people are devils, man. It's not a sense of, it's not the fact that they secure the, they want security. They want to secure your data and all this other shit. It's all a smoke screen. The bottom line is all about oppression, constantly having that yoke on your neck, and then once they implement that C-hip, now they have ultimate control over you, and if you take it, you've basically submitted yourself to him. You submitted yourself to these people. You will be looking at them as they're the Most High, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And that's what it all boils down to, man. These people want to be in the place of Most High. They want to be in that ruling seat of the Most High. They want to be Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. But it's all for naught, because scriptures say, man, these wicked ass people are going into captivity. They're going into hardcore bondage, hardcore slavery. And that's their destiny. Our destiny is to rule the kingdom in righteousness, through biblical law, under a righteous government, under righteous rulership, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And these people's destiny is hardcore slavery. All these heathen nations, along with Esau, Edom. But Esau gonna get it the worst. He's going to hardcore slavery, man. And after he rebuild that kingdom, our kingdom, his ass is gonna get put into the dirt. He's gonna get burnt up. He's going into that pit. And you won't have to deal with an Edomite ever again. That's the whole goal, man. Never have to deal with an Edomite again. So this is just another, this is gonna be a little short joint, just to see, it's just to discern the times, let you know where we at. And we're getting closer to this, we're getting closer to the end. We're getting real close. Because if you haven't noticed, the time is sped up. And they're moving faster with their agenda and his NWO. And that C-hip is coming. That C-hip, you just need one false flag event, and that C-hip is right there. And it's gonna come, either through one of these silly proxy wars, or it's gonna come through a way of some sort of cyber attack, where they're gonna deem that the current system is not safe enough, and then there go that chip, and people going, you're gonna have a lot of people that line up for it. You have a lot of people that just gonna conform and take it. But you Israelites out there, man, don't take that, man. Leave that shit alone. It's gonna be some hard times, but the Lord said we're gonna have to go through these hard times in order to see that sunshine. So with that, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachahak Radash, Abad Babal.